Welcome back.
Come on.
Fresh dirt.
Yes.
Oh, just hit my mic.
Episode 4.
Episode 4. Wow. Just let's take I was joking about this earlier. Just take a moment, remember all the good times we've had so
Perhaps
far.
episode 5 could be a highlight reel.
The best of. It's like a band that brings out one album and the best of.
It'd be a 30-second episode. It's done.
You don't want to ask questions you don't want the answer to.
That's true. Yeah.
Hey, I'm just going to lift this up a bit if that's I'm not going to break anything. Still want to see you, Ralph, but
Just mess up all Chris's levels for us now.
have I messed with your levels, Chris? No, we're good. So, we just introduced episode 4, introduced a new character to the show. That's Chris.
Yes.
He's
a
been here the
producer.
whole time, but he's our live audience. So we appreciate Chris. We're just talking about how much we appreciate what Chris does.
We do, yes. Yeah.
So, today, maybe a bit more educational, I guess.
Yep.
You've written down some stuff around your experiences of church, church planting, and teaching church planting, working with people, and you've called it the 7 phases of church planting.
Yep.
We thought we'd go through that, but maybe the first 2 today.
Yeah.
And so, do you want to talk a little bit?
So a little bit of context, I guess.
Yeah, please.
What we found, it's in the Uniting Church, but I get the feeling it's like every church, that you have a small portion of people that understand and are keen and passionate for church planting. They get it. And then you kind of have another, like a host of people that like, we've never thought about it, but as soon as you bring it up, maybe we could consider it. And then there's a bigger portion that are like, huh, what, never. And so in the Uniting Church, what we want to do is see every single congregation and every single person involved in planning a church.
Yes. Yep.
Now, when you look out west, say Roma, church there's 20 people. I don't know how many people in the Church of Roma, right? But there's 20 people in a church, and they're like, well, it's ridiculous that we think about church planning. And what we want to say to them is, no, you can contribute to it. It can be part of your life. It can be part of your passion.
I love it.
It might not come from you, but you might work out how you can help resource or contribute or pray for another church plant that is happening in this area. Or you might say, well, look, just take that Bible study and stick it in a cafe and run it in such a way that people can be involved to it, invited to it. So what we want to do is create a resource that anybody in the church, so any council, any team, any congregation, any individual that's in the church or outside the church would look at it. And it's not like it's written by us, but it works for anyone. That someone could pick this up and go, well, this is where I'm at in the journey. So I've never thought about it. Oh, so the first phase is where I'm up to. Or God's been knocking on my heart for a while and I've got some mates.
Love it.
Like, what is this? Or I've been leading this Bible study. It's kind of growing. And we're out in the community. Like, is this a church plant? Or I'm feeding some homeless people on a Tuesday night and God's doing something. What on earth do I do with it? So it's the document is the answer to those questions.
I love it. I would just comment and think you agree, but tell me, I think something that's really important in this is your definition of church planting.
Oh, yeah.
So often you've inherited a definition where your context.
Yep.
It's funny, in our last episode we talked about Alpha, and that we went over there as church planters, but I'd call their work replanting.
Yes.
As revitalization.
Absolutely.
Now, that is still church planting.
Yep.
Health.
Yep.
And in my context, I've spoken about this before and we'll continue to, we kind of saw most of our growth out of an op shop. So we revitalized a church out of an op shop.
Yeah.
So I'd say all of that. We won't go into it fully today, but we are talking multiple models here.
Yes.
However you are gathering people around Christ and they are growing, you are planting his church. You're extending his church. You're replanting. I think we joked in the first episode, all the language. Throw a bit of that out and just know you have permission. And then the other thing I think is good to disclaimer, often when you look at theories or how things work, it can be, the word I'd use is unsexy.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, I just want to follow the Spirit, let him do his thing. I'm not constrained by formula. To that I'd say humanity is, we love patterns and we operate in a certain way. And if this has not been anyone's experience, that's okay. Go change it. Listen to the Holy Spirit, but don't disregard. I think the classic line around this is when I've heard this said a million times, we have an auto service for your church. And people are like, this isn't to the Holy Spirit to serve. We're not praying that this is how it runs. we're praying that this serves and creates space for what God wants to do.
Yep.
So I imagine, is it fair to say these phases are to serve what God wants to do, not go, hey, God, you better operate in these 7 phases?
Yeah, and there is not a sense of the phases push you into any model. The phases should be able to work in any model.
Beautiful.
From your micro church or faith communities, missional communities, through to an op shop setup or a old church that's just, perhaps old isn't the right word, but a struggling, declining church that says, we want to turn things around here.
Love it.
To a youth group. Like it doesn't matter. And I think too, it's interesting you bring that thing up around like church planting is actually kind of the management of resources.
Yes.
Like it's people and it's time and it's gifts, like people's gifts, and it's money and it's buildings, and it's the management of those things toward growth and health and stability. And I think there's... I forgot what I was going to say.
That's all right. Might need not what you were going to say, but it's something I've been saying frequently as I talk about a church planting degree I'm a part of and things like that, is it's not about church planting.
Yeah. Yep.
It's about seeing people become like Jesus and participate in his kingdom.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my little catchphrase. Look at the camera for that one. But how do we do that?
Yeah.
And I think we've said this earlier in earlier episodes. The number one way research shows to develop leaders, see people participate, think missionally, grow, is through church planting.
Absolutely.
So I don't care if you church plan. I care if people get changed, and both now and eternally through Jesus. Yep. And I suggest a great way to do it is think like a church planner. Yeah. Yeah. Is that?
Yeah.
Can we pretend that's what you were saying?
Yeah. No. I like it. And it's just. I just caught the other thought that I had too. It was exactly that.
Yeah.
And
sure. So yeah, sure it was.
What we've used as a definition of church plant, because you can have like ministries that are amazing.
Yes.
But they're not church plants. So a good mate of ours, Dave Quack, who we'll have on the potty soon. Yeah. Dave's got a podcast around mental health. It's incredible. It's got a community around it. It's this whole thing that's happening, but it's not a church. It's not a church plant.
That's awesome.
So the way we've sort of loosely held is church plant is a new initiative of the gospel that's missional by nature, that has the intent of becoming a church.
Love it. Yes. Yep.
So it's not that it sits alongside a church, and it's not that it's part of a church. It's to become a church. It doesn't mean all the other stuff is amazing and we can talk about it and stuff. But I think if you're looking for how do I understand what a church plant is, and when your church plant becomes a church, when it's actually self-sustainable and its structures and systems are in place, that there's stability, you have some more depth there.
It's good. Nothing wrong with non-for-profits. Nothing wrong with these podcasts. Like I agree completely.
Yeah.
I spoke about an op shop. The op shop was just an op shop. It wasn't until people were gathering, actually when the op shop would close, they'd gather, open the word, and encourage each other and get baptized. So that's I wasn't. The op shop was not a church plant.
Yeah, but they need to get baptized into the church, right? Not into the op shop.
That's exactly right.
And that's the beauty of it.
So it's good to articulate that, and it's good to make sure that people know we're not selling a formula.
Yeah.
But if you have lived this, you've seen this, and there's some wisdom in this, and so 7 stages is a lot. Yep. So we're gonna look at the first 2 today. Is that right?
I won't even tell everyone the last
you have 5. To tune in.
Yeah. Come on, we might pick them up later on.
So what are they?
All right. So the first one. So obviously, when you talk about church planting, I mean, the name of our podcast is Fresh Dirt. It's this. That is the name of our podcast, isn't it?
That's correct. I know,
right?
it's fairly new, so we're still learning it.
Oh man, imagine if I just renamed it by accident. Oh gosh. All right, so these are metaphors around planting and dirt and so forth. So first is the preparing of the soil. So when we think how to start a church plant, it starts with the preparing of the soil. So it's identifying and exploring the call of God. I mean, that's where it starts. We'll talk about that in a sec. And then the second is digging the hole. So digging the hole is establishing who will go and where and what the vision will be. So you go, and this is the space that we now need to fill. So they're the first 2 for you.
So let's open it up. Number 1. So say that sentence again for number 1, just so we can Sorry,
I'll just open up my notes again.
I know it off by heart, obviously, but for those that don't.
Like for me.
Yeah.
I am identifying and exploring the call of God.
Cool. So how do you do that?
Yeah, it's easy. You just listen for God and you just do it.
How did you do it? How did it work out in this church plant for you?
Yeah, I had the in a really good way, the expectation that I would plant the church was on me for like 10 years. Like,
okay, cool.
At some point, you're going to plant a church.
Wow.
That was there, and I was totally okay with that. I was like, yeah, let's go.
Okay.
But all the way through, had no, there was no, so it was this like high-level call of like, this is what you're going to do with your life.
How did you get that? Sorry, where did that come from?
So when I was in Seymour, so I started off in Seymour, Central Victoria, and then had the opportunity to join the staff at New Life. And so as that happened, part of what that was, it was like look after youth, start young adults, and in the future church plant. And I'm like, come on, this is exciting. So
it was a bit of a discernment process you went on?
Not really. I yes to the position, but the position wasn't about church planting. That was kind of in the future. So I kind of fell into it. I'm like, yeah, I'm keen. Like,
cool. Yeah.
I'm entrepreneurial. I like to have a go. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, it should be pretty easy.
yeah, classic.
So I'm like, yeah, church planting. So all the way through, Stu, who was lead pastor at the time, he would say like, what do you think about this? And I'd be like, nah, nothing. Like it doesn't leap, it doesn't jump. So there were opportunities and there were these pathways that became available, and all the way through, I'm just like, nope, like not feeling anything of a pull toward it.
Yeah, wow.
They went to Hillsong staff conference.
Yeah.
So you get together backstage, and that week they were launching a church in Rio de Janeiro of 2,000 people, flying home. And I remember being on the plane, I was sitting next to Stu, and I remember thinking, gosh, if Hillsong can do that around the world, what if a church like New Life could do that in its own city?
Yep.
Could plant these churches that were so occupied with their postcode that they would see dramatic transformation happen.
Amazing.
And so then I said to Stu, what do you think about this? That's when that was the first like, there's something in that. I had no location in mind. I had no nothing in mind. It wasn't until Stu said, well, where, that I went, Burleigh. Now, here's what's funny. So Burleigh is one of the most beautiful places in the world.
So it was tough to get to that place.
Yeah, it was really difficult. I had no affinity with Burleigh.
Yeah.
I rarely went there.
Yeah.
It wasn't part of my to-do list or to visit like ever. It was just a place. But as I really looked into it, I realized that Burleigh was a community and a village in itself, unlike, say, Varsity. So Varsity is kind of the worst laid out suburb ever, but it doesn't have a heart. Whereas Burleigh has a heart and a soul, and right in the center of it. And there was this, the church, need to be right smack bang in the center of this.
I love it.
Bring in life. And so this call kind of grew in its momentum and its clarity as I kind of pursued these little clues.
Yes.
And then everyone I talked to was affirming, like, yes, you should do that. Yes, you're made to do that. That's a brilliant idea. It's really great.
Can I ask, in that, following those breadcrumbs, because sometimes we hear these stories, and I'll share a little bit of mine because I love how different. We end up in the same suburb, but I love how different. Mine was completely different, the call.
Yep.
Even a different type of call, I'd say. But let me ask you this first. As you followed those breadcrumbs, we love the open door stories.
Yeah.
Were the doors that closed?
Yeah, well.
Did you have other ideas that you thought would happen?
We didn't have any. It's interesting. So coming from New Life, there was a real sense of starting another New Life.
Sure. Yeah.
And so I think, so as the call sort of began to mature and become clearer, there was a sense of like, what does it look like for New Life to be in Burleigh? And New Life is a very large church in Australian standards. It's a lot of resources, and it does things a particular way.
Yep.
And what was interesting, so I started the conversation thinking that's what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And inside found myself going, you need to offer something more organic, more missional, more scrappy, more messy.
Wow. Yeah.
And it flipped. So it started this like it needs to be like a campus of New Life to we actually need to be our own thing that exists under the oversight of New Life until we can be our own, like walk by ourselves. And that's what it ended up being. The problem with that is I had no idea what I was doing. So if it was doing a campus of New Life, well, we know how to do that because we're all part of it, and that would have made sense, and there would have been like all sorts of like crossover and that. But it was just like I really felt this stronger pull of it needs to be highly missional, needs to be highly agile, it needs to be organic, it needs to have. I always say, if you could give 10 hours a week to Village, give 1 hour to the church and 9 hours to the community.
Dick. Yep.
And that was kind of, it still is what sort of identifies us. Yeah.
I'm going to ask you in a sec about how you feed that calling.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you a little bit of mine.
Yeah, please.
So we've talked many times, but I love even hearing it fresh how different. But it's how similar. So I'm part of a big church at the same time.
Yep.
Southport Church of Christ, great church with young adults pastor. And funny enough, I felt a discontent.
Yeah.
So they were doing nothing wrong.
Yep.
But I can distinctly remember Sunday night looking at the night service, big church, about 200, 300 young adults at night, and looking and going, I'm not needed.
Yeah.
There's like, literally, it's like, if I finish today, that my job will be advertised, and not in a woe is me. I'm like, they're well resourced. There's heaps of people, and I had some interns at the time. I thought they might likely do a better job. So like, and again, there's no woe is me. It was just, And at the same time, me and Mez, and I guess is what fell into ministry, Mez, my wife, we just felt called. We thought maybe a mission field. So we and funny enough, the reason I asked the other question is my calling's been a series of God closes doors.
Yeah, wow.
I think he knows me and he just knows I'll run at anything and sometimes run ahead of him. And so his little prayer or deal I've got with him is I'll often pray, close the doors. And boy, if I'm brutally honest, it has been painful. Some of those doors have closed so painfully. But, oh man, like, he opened, there's one over here. I hadn't thought about that. So we think about doing mission. We're praying through. I go and talk to my denomination and say, we want to go on mission or plant a church. And so we're steered off. We were very seriously, there was a thing called very seriously praying through when they live amongst the poor. They are like a chaplain missionary in that area. And so it's funny, we had this heart for the poor and we wondered what that was about. That door closed and we're directed towards a list of churches. They said, hey, what about church planting, but not church planting? What about a replant? It's a list of churches that will close their doors by the end of this year.
Yeah, wow.
Would you consider one? And one of those was Burleigh.
Come on.
And I prayed for a map vision for God to show me why I should go to Burleigh. I'm going to say to this date, because I hope this is encouraging for others, I have never felt a call to the city or suburb of Burleigh Heads.
Wow.
It was just a series of closing doors. And I realized how it works with me is God had a calling on my assignment. And I don't like even using the word, but the gifting. So what it needed. So this is what I've provided you with. This is where the assignment is for these gifts. This is the job to do.
Yeah, so good.
And so I prayed, man. I prayed we did prayer walks and things like that over Burleigh. And I was like, just give me a signal. But he did. He gave me a signal around the gifting and around the call of me and Mez and the people going with us and the opportunity, I'd say. And so full circle comes back with this call for the poor. There's this op shop. There's this food help thing. And I'm like, okay. I didn't think that was in Burleigh Heads.
Surprised by it.
And we just, a series of different things, God shows up and he just creaked this little door open. And next minute I'm applying to be the pastor there.
Yeah, wow.
Sent with a team to see if God wants to bring new life into it.
Wow.
And so, door just slammed shut left, right and centre.
It's really funny. Pete Hughes, which is Tim Hughes' brother, for just context anyway. I think Pete's funnier than Tim. But Pete goes, I've spent my life just kicking doors down. And the ones I can't kick down is a no from God.
That's exactly.
It's just like, I
didn't hear him. I haven't heard him say that, but I resonate. That's me forcing sometimes doors open. And he's like, you don't want to go down there. Don't worry. And so, so we land in Burleigh. But there's a call to the assignment that was needed. So
it springs to mind. One of the things I did realize is as I looked, so I was kind of associate pastor. I was overseeing young adults, and a guy called Mike Hands, who we'll have on the podcast at some stage.
Yeah.
Mike was moving into that role, who then planted a church and now is leading New Life. And so I remember thinking, I don't know where to step next. Like stepping stones across a river, going, I don't know where to step next. And I realized that, and it was the same when I left Seymour and came to New Life.
Yeah.
I realized that, if I was stuck here, I would work out where to step next. But it wasn't about that. It was like, I feel like I've completed what God has for me here. And so the next natural step was to Village in Burleigh. Just like the next natural step when I was in Seymour was to New Life. And then what's fascinating, so in the Uniting Church, you only get 10 years as a placement. And so I'm in that space of 10 years right now. And so we've had to go for like an extension. So we've asked, and we're going through a process for that. But what's fascinating is I do not feel like I don't know where to step. I'm like, oh my gosh, there is so much more that I need to do here. So it's been a fascinating measure in me of like identifying the call.
Yeah.
Maybe it's helpful for some of you of like, if you're thinking, where do I step next? Where do I lead next? Where do we take this next? Maybe God's actually like, I've got something else for you.
It's a calling out. And so I've just went through that. So I've just called, just the last 6 months being called out of my local church. And I asked God, like, hey, surely you're not done here because you're not done in that church. No. But why do I feel this way? And again, I call out. Yeah. I went on long service leave. The guy that did the relief pastoring for 3 months, smashed it, came back to a healthier church and went, again, I'm so bad. I went, no. Oh, is there another season needed for me?
Yeah.
Have you got something else? And then ironically, I kicked some doors hard and had some of the harshest other doors slammed in my face that I've experienced thus far.
Yep.
And then I don't actually know, again, just a series of falling into these roles. So now, as mentioned, work in this church planting space, that was not the goal, but now it's only in hindsight going, this was totally what God was going to do.
Yep.
And it's funny in hindsight, isn't it, with a calling, how much he's equipped you. So even at Southport, my passion, I didn't even think about this, was small groups.
Yeah. Right.
So we developed some small group models, getting people, gathering people, and then multiplying them.
Yep.
And then I get to a church, no idea what to do.
Yeah.
Literally, not having ran one before.
Yep.
I go, well, I'm just going to start operating like it's a big small group.
Yeah.
And that has served us well. So we got calling, love. I just hope that people listening just get that there's no right formula for being called.
Yeah, that's right.
Except for prayer.
Yep.
And asking. And don't be afraid. Can I just say this last bit as well? Don't be afraid we're not testing God, but give him some framework.
Yeah.
So I did say to God, I want 3 confirmations
nice.
from you. And I'm not saying that in a testing or I won't do it.
Yeah.
And he did. Yeah. He gave us 3 separate confirmations that were just, again, people might, you test him? No, before you move your whole life into this, you want to know it's from God. And so he gave us 3 confirmations. Are you going to tell us
the 3?
So it was, I spoke a little bit about in a previous episode. It was at a conference. We sat down at a lunch with somebody and they ended up being an ex-member of that church. Yep. The second one was in my home. How's this? The second one was in my home church. So we saw a family out by the playground and me and my wife, Mez, actually went out there and started talking to them. And they said, we really like this church, but you're the first person that's spoken to us in 5 weeks. Because they just looked established. It wasn't no dig at that church, just the big church nature. I mean, they weren't looking lost. They were actually on the playground. Yeah. And we said, oh, wow. And we said, are you new to church? And they're like, we've been going to another church, but this is a bit closer. We're looking for some more family connection. And we go, oh, where have you been going? They said, Leehead's Church of Christ. They were the only family, and it had been the last 5 years.
Wow.
And we're like, we are thinking about going there. And they said, oh, we'll come back because we want to go there. We just wanted some other families.
Yeah.
So like, how's that?
Yeah.
And then there was just some
That's
affirmation from some leaders
Yep.
that went, no, this is where you're meant to go. And so, yeah, we got three confirmation. We're like,
yeah, wow.
again, no one said, oh, I see this map. And
Yeah.
it was just,
Yep.
okay, we need to go. So,
yeah.
very practical, very human,
Yeah.
very catered for me
Yep.
and Mez.
So good.
And that's what I encourage people to pray specific
Yep.
because he knows you.
Yep. And I want to say to you, the call is the most important thing that we possess as a planter, right?
Yes.
Because when it gets tough and it's hard and you're beaten up and you lose hope and no one turns up and all the rest of that, it's the call is the reason you keep doing it. It's like, I'm going to quit, except I can't because God has me anchored to this thing. Yes. And if you're not anchored, you quit and you walk away because it's too hard. And why would anyone do it?
That is so good.
Yeah.
I laugh as I tell the story about his family at the playground. That literally stopped me from quitting year one.
Yeah, wow.
We were end of year one. It was rough.
Yeah, wow.
Turns out people don't love change.
Yeah.
And they certainly don't love a young 30-year-old telling them who's like 70 years their senior feels like what to do.
Yeah.
And it turns out they almost want to sack you.
Yeah, wow.
And so I would have quit if it wasn't for community that came with me. And I think you did call me to this because that's how you talk when you're in that position. I think you did call me and you just, yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yeah. So until I'm sacked, this is where I'll play it. This is where I'll dig into the dirt. No doubt about it. Yeah. Had I not had that, had I not seeked him properly, I'd have been like, oh, classic me, I've just ran ahead. I'll go back home. I'll go back to wherever I think I need to go back to. That's huge.
I remember one Sunday afternoon, we used to have 4 p.m. service. And one Sunday afternoon, there was Lyndall and I, and I co-planted with a guy called Ori. So there was our family, there was Ori's family, there was one person that turned up. And I remember thinking, well, this is it. It's done right here and now. And coming out of that going, that was just like, oh my gosh. And this sense of like, it doesn't matter what you want. It doesn't matter how you want to respond to this. None of that matters. You're called to do this. And if the call wasn't there, you'd walk away. Like it would be 100 times when you'd be like, oh no, it's too tough. I'm just going to walk away. When you're not seeing that fruit, when people are not turning up, when all the things you'd all agree on, it turns out you're the only one agreed on it, you know?
So good.
All that stuff. And if it weren't for the call of God, you'd just be like, no, I'm done.
I appreciate you sharing this. This is why we started the podcast, I believe.
Yeah.
Not for this type of conversation.
Yeah.
So, I'll just say one more story because I think this is, I had one of the people I essentially planted it with and was like my go-to person, sit me down and say, I don't like where it's heading. Oh, hadn't had any conversation. Hard. Well, I'm pretty naive to stuff. I run into mirrors. I understand. Maybe not the best listener, do a lot of talking. So all of that, but I didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
And I went, haven't we sort of made these decisions together? And this person went, I don't really like where it's going. And I think I'm out. I got in my car and a man after night I just wept. Steve wept. Rang a mentor of mine and he goes, I reckon you might have put a bit more faith into this person than Jesus.
Yeah, they're good like that. Aren't they?
Punch, but I was like,
so
again, without the call, I'd heard these things happen. I heard people leave. I heard your gut punched from, and it wasn't deliberate, it wasn't malice, it was just on it. Yep. I still feel like I can't believe I didn't quit that day. So there's been so many times I've almost quit, but the call, and so, I pray that's what it looks like to dig in the dirt.
Yeah, absolutely.
So find that calling, how you need to know, and know that it might, for a church planner that wants to run 1,000,000 miles an hour, it might feel like a waste of time.
Yes.
But pause.
So, I was going to say wait on it, right? Like don't go ahead without the call. Just don't do it. It will kill you.
Yes, you need it. It will not be enough that I had a good idea. It needs to be a God idea.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Hey, just a quick interruption to the podcast. Hope you're enjoying it. But just a big shout out to our sponsor for this episode, the Kenmore Institute for Church Planting. The Kenmore Institute is offering what is currently one of the only church planting university level awards in diploma, bachelor and masters. And so if you're curious, if you're inspired by this podcast and want to learn more and be part of a community of church planters, then go to acom.edu.au and check the show notes for more information. Get in touch and we'd love to see you a part of it.
When I was talking to Lyndall today about, my wife, about coming here, the conversation, she goes, what are you talking about? So we're going to talk about one of the episodes is about how you start a church plant. And she goes, oh, that's easy. You get married and have a kid. And we're just like, oh, so true. So when there's this weird thing that happens that you tend to, at the same time you're planning a church, you're having a kid.
Yes.
And so Haim had just arrived, I think, on the scene. He was like, Lyndall's pregnant with Haim while we were doing all this stuff.
Yep.
And there's such a clear connection between you as a couple fostering and bringing new life into this world and birthing a church at the same time.
Interesting.
And so the reason I say that is, one, because it's kind of funny, but two, we can look at the life situation we're in and discount us and say, oh, God wouldn't want me to do that. It's too hard because I've got all this stuff on.
Yeah.
And I think it's because of all that stuff that God says, I want you to plant right now. So we know the dependence we have to have on God. We're experiencing these changes, and it's not always about having kids, but we're experiencing all these changes, and that informs the ministry that we offer and how we offer that ministry, because at the very same time, what we're forming, we're being formed in.
That is, I feel like I have tons to say on that, but I don't, because it's just, I'm just blown away. That's a really good point, because we were actually, this is a formula, like if you don't have kids, if you haven't had kids yet, don't stop church planting.
Don't go back and have kids.
If you finish kids,
I'm going to plant another church, but I'm not going back to have
kids. But for the season that I was in, absolutely, it's funny. It's funny. My first ministry thing, I was renovating a house. Which is so stupid. Those sentences of Steve Gray renovating a house should never be said again. But we'd watched too much of the Block.
There's a YouTube channel.
We'd watched too much of the Block, and we decided that it was easy.
Oh my gosh!
And so we sort of renovated a house. And when I say that, my friends who are tradies renovated my house, but I helped collect rubbish. And actually, there's so many parallels between that and that work.
Oh yeah.
And then my second time, the church plant. We had my two daughters, and the week we gave birth. When I say we gave birth, it was a joint effort, me and Mez.
Well done, Steve. I'm sure Mez helped out.
She helped a little. So she gave birth to Noah the week I got handed the keys.
Yeah, isn't that incredible?
So, and there's all of that, and I think that speaks to actually the call to, as a family, if you are married.
Yes. Come on.
Oh, just pastors' wives. This could be a whole topic, and probably should get our wives on and interview them.
Totally.
That we should not speak for them.
That'd be fun, actually.
That'd be dangerous. Might be the last episode we do.
Yeah, maybe we'll. It'll be episode 5 and the last one.
But don't. It has to be a joint call.
Oh,
now that does not mean your wife has to be different dynamics.
Yep.
Me and my wife definitely felt like we were called. And even more as in we were called into leadership of it. But it's okay if your husband or wife, whoever's planting, your partner doesn't feel called to. They have to be senior pastors. No. They can do something else, but they have to understand it's a family call.
Oh, so true.
They don't have to do the work, but at some stage they do. You're in it together, and it's all encompassing. And don't go into it. I don't. The most helpful things that ever happened is I was in a Bible college course where the lecturer's marriage was falling apart just before I planted. And that's not great at all. The only silver lining, not for him, was for me. I was like, I don't want that. I made mistakes in that. I've made tons of mistakes. I've not looked into not looked for my family's benefit over stuff before. You can disguise workaholicism through ministry, all that stuff. But just make sure you're in it together.
Yeah. And we probably need to do a whole episode on family and that. But you're so right. So for Lyndall and I, it was a we decision. It had to be a we decision. Yes. And then the shape of that we decision was that I was going to lead the church and she was going to serve as a Christian would in a church based on the gifts that she had.
Yeah.
So we were really clear that people shouldn't look to her as the leader because she didn't want that, but she desperately wanted to contribute and she's done incredible amount for the church, like insane amount.
Yeah.
But for us, it wasn't. She didn't had no need to be called a pastor or be seen as a pastor. And what's funny, people even to this day, they'll talk to Lyndall and they'll assume that I tell Lyndall everything that happens in confidence, and I don't tell her anything that happens in confidence. Yeah. And so they'll start these conversations with Lyndall and overshare, and Lyndall's just like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And they'll be like, what, hasn't Ralph talked to you? And she's like, no, because he's like the leader.
Yeah.
And there's stuff you share with him that isn't healthy to share with her. But it has to be a we. And I think when it's a we, it allows it to be a we for the kids as well, if you have kids in that space, of them going, this is my church and I love it here. And they might do exactly the same as every other kid, but their heart's more invested.
Absolutely. It's their church.
This is our church, that we birthed.
Oh, it's good. And then I think I want to move on, but I do think it's worth saying, in part of that calling, it's good to have people that disagree with you speaking to your life.
It really is.
So they still want the best for you, but I had people in my life that said, don't do Burley.
Yep.
Godly people.
Yep.
And it's okay if they said that.
Yep.
They weren't people that were trying to control. That would be different. They weren't people that were not seeking God.
Yep.
But they're like, I don't know, because of the nature of the church at the time, they were worried about me.
Yep.
It's just good. It's okay. Like
it
God's
is.
voice is louder.
Yeah.
He's going to speak through that. And so don't just surround yourself with people. Yes. Because again, when it gets hard, you need to know the call was bigger than that.
Yep.
Does that make sense? You didn't force the door open. Yep. God swung it open.
Yep.
And so I think that was helpful for me. I had some people in my life that were like, I don't know. Yeah. I don't reckon. We love it. And it was helpful. We had people go, we love you here.
Yeah.
Don't go.
Yeah.
That was helpful for us as well.
Part of them saying, like, for example, saying don't go to Burley too, helps you not rush into it blind.
Yes.
Helps you go, all right, so there's a bit of resistance to this.
Yep.
So if I'm going to do it, I need to make sure I understand what I'm actually getting into and moving into.
Absolutely.
Which is actually really helpful. That resistance kind of slows us down to be like, I need to be wise about this, not just excited.
I had a friend offer me, it was tongue in cheek, but it was almost like I just in case, offer me another role.
Yeah.
And they were close friends to ours. It was it was a move, but we're like, oh, that would be fun.
Yeah.
Man, that was helpful.
Yeah.
Because I was like, that's the dream, working with these guys would be awesome. And it was like, no, you've called us to this place.
Yeah.
So you get a call.
Mm-hmm.
And we're, again, I've said this before, but anyone can reach out to us.
Yep,
happy to work through calls. Happy to pray for people. Just let us know if they've got a call and they want to know more about any of that. The second phase, you're moving into it. How do you feed that?
Yeah.
Or what do you do with that?
Yep.
Because, please.
Yeah, I think so. There's a point at which your church plant starts to take shape.
Yes. Yeah.
And the shape is determined by the culture you want in it, the reason for it existing, like its vision, the things that are really important that we call values. And that shape is the thing that people get attracted to or switched off by.
Sure.
Now, for some people, there's like, I feel called to Burley. We didn't have a ton of them. We had a couple of them who very quickly fell away, which was really interesting. Yeah.
Interesting.
In fact, this kind of links the two conversations. If you looked, say 6 months in, you looked at my whole team, I could cut them in, not in half number numerically, but I have two clear groups. One group was, I feel utterly called to this. God has spoken, I'm called. The other group said, pretty sure God's called, exploring it, keen, committed, right? At the year mark, all of the I feel called to this were miraculously called to something else.
Wow.
And pretty useless. Like it was there for whether there was a romantic thing or whatever. It was really difficult. There was one other category, and the other category was a couple that said we feel called to this for a year. We'll give you everything for a year, and then we'll go back. And that's exactly what they did. It was brilliant and heart-wrenchingly painful when they came true on their word. But kudos to them. They just honoured
and they were helpful.
The assignment. Oh, incredibly so.
Yeah.
Just incredibly so.
I'd agree. We had a couple of year people that committed to the year or said, I don't know how long this is going to last. And killed, but the honesty was beautiful. Yeah,
so you assume, right, when they say that, you're like, I know, but in a year's time.
Yeah, you'll love it so much.
And they did love it. Like they were in tears, but like, no, God called us to this for a year and now we need to.
I've never heard that, but thinking through my lists, the people that said, I think I'm going to come because it's close to, one lady said, I'm going to come because it's close to our surf club. She became a 2IC at the church.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Another one said, hey, we don't really like any other, like they weren't negative. They're like, we don't have a home church. Yeah. We'll come with you. They were just friends of ours. Yeah. They stayed.
Yeah.
But there were a couple that were like, oh my goodness, this is, this is.
God has spoken.
He visited, no, they didn't say that, buddy. And I don't know what church I go to now.
Yeah.
So,
it's fascinating.
That's
So I guess there's learning in that, right?
Yeah.
Like, or just a warning, and hold it loosely. It's not gospel, like it's not locked in. No. But when people are really, really enthusiastic and they say, yes, God has absolutely called this, just have in the back of your mind, they may well be the people that don't do as much work as you think they're going to do, that aren't as committed, that get flaky, or that go to another church that leave. And I think if you have that in your heart when you start, you're more prepared, and you're not, because what you do is you go, wow, these people are committed. Let's put everything on them. Thanks for coming, you guys. You can support, when actually that's a mistake, because then you put everything on a group that could potentially,
I have a general rule, and again, now this is what we said at the start with these phases, with this advice. This isn't gospel. This is just some lived experience, and receive and take what you want. We just hope it helps. I second guess or I check anyone that says to me, "Start something with God told me." Now I've had people tell me things that I think were from God, saying with that. So I'm not saying it's wrong. But I have a little bit of a principle. It's like, why do you have to tell me that? So if you come to me, Ralph, call me up and say, hey, mate, I have something I want to share with you. Maybe you might say, hey, I've been praying about it. I assume you're not ringing me. Are there any other reason with a verse or something you might have for me? Because any other reason than God told you.
Yes.
But you don't need to prove that. No. If it resonates, it's from God.
That's right.
Again, we have to be insecure.
Yeah.
I was speaking about that at last podcast. We have to be insecure. God's either God or he's not.
Yep.
And so God has either shared something with you or you just made it up and not meaning to. But I know you, I'll check it and I'll receive it if it's from God. Anyone that needs to protest too much, I was fasting for 7 years and I had this vision from – cool, like I appreciate some of that. Just if it hits or it hits, or if it doesn't, it doesn't. So in the same principle, if anyone's over, that's such a good that's even good for people coming into your church. Because they're exciting, right? We all want to have a prophet in our church because it's a direct line to God, it feels like. Man, just it doesn't seem to work like that a lot. So just be careful.
Because people can, they bring their junk, they bring their trauma, they bring all that stuff in. And what people do is they use the God card to bully you into stuff. God told me you have to. God told me we have to. And then if I don't do that, what sort of Christian am I? What sort of, what have I said about God, right? So people use it. Whereas when someone comes and goes, there might be God in this. Like, we've got a bit of an inkling, a bit of a leading, or this happened or whatever. Then you're like, I think that's a God thing. You're open to discerning. So I think, just beware and hold it at length. But there's other fascinating dynamic I've seen, and I talk to our village about this all the time. The reason you left a church will be the reason you leave your church plant or the next church. So if you've say me, right? So I've left this church because I don't like the preaching. It's not really effective and no one cares about me. So I'm just done. So I leave that and I come to Village and I go, oh, Village is amazing. The preaching is amazing and everyone cares for me. It is only a matter of time until I say, I don't like the preaching and no one cares for me here because the problem's in me. And I carry that. The problem's not in the church.
Yeah.
And so when people come to you and say you're starting up a church plant, you've got a bit of a team happening. You've got all this stuff happening. It's really exciting. And somebody hears about this and they come and they join and you say, why are you here? And they say anything negative about that church, it's 100% guaranteed, unless they do the spiritual surgery required, that will be what they say to the next church that they go to and they leave yours.
I wish that was untrue, but I've never found it untrue. I have had people that have come in and so excited and I've just gone, oh, I'm sure that is true what they're saying about their last church, and probably is, possibly. We'll fix them, we'll change them, they'll just fall in love with the place, or it must have just been that church.
Yeah.
And they've sat down with me, exact conversation.
Yeah.
Preaching, too focused on a particular area, my kids.
Yeah.
So if they left the church because of kids, they're like, we can never do enough for their kids, it turns out. Oh, man, that's painful.
Yeah, it is.
But I laugh because it's so true.
Yeah.
About the human condition. Again, I have seen people change.
Oh, and people, so what I reckon you need to do is when they come to you, don't go, well, leave now because you're going to leave later. It's not like that. Yeah. What you say is, so there's this interesting principle where the reason you left your last church will be the reason you leave this church. I don't want that to be the case. And I know you don't believe it is at the moment, but let's work with God and you and together that it never becomes that reason.
Yeah.
And that way it's always a flag.
Good.
For them around, oh yeah, actually the reason I left that church was because I hate the preaching. And now I'm starting to be agitated by the preaching. That's a me thing and not the preaching thing.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Now I
mean, sometimes the preaching is the thing, right? Like,
well, in your case. No.
Good one.
So no, it's classic. It was right there.
Got to take it.
So yeah, you can't. If it's heretical, no. I would say all of that, we just got to be careful.
Yep.
You need team.
Yes.
So we just gave you a heap of reasons they're going to hurt you.
Yep. Sorry.
But I also, team was the reason I lasted.
Yeah.
Again, I know I'm giving lots of reasons I lasted. Like, how bad was it, Steve? It was amazing.
Yeah.
But I needed people and team.
Yep.
If you had asked me at the start, I said, I'll be right.
Yep.
No. How wrong, oh, young Steve.
Yeah.
How wrong the team kept me, because I had some people in my corner, and some of those people. I talked about it. Later said, it's close to me and my husband's surf club, and some friends that went, we got nothing better to do.
Yeah.
They kept us going.
Yeah.
They're like, we still have nothing better to do.
Yeah.
We're here for you.
Yeah.
Turns out we're called.
Yeah.
And the other one went, it's close to a surf club, but also I have a heart for the community.
Yep.
And so that defined everything I can do.
Yeah.
So no, team is needed.
Yeah. Team's so important. Team's it. Yep. There's a few. There's this idea of parachute planting, right? Where a denomination finds a church planter and has a community that needs a church, and they parachute them in. So no people at all, no team, and there might be resources associated with that. It is just a lonely, torrid experience for that church planter.
Yeah.
So I would want to say, and sometimes this isn't possible, but I'd want to say, get some people with you to go with you to be part of that church. It's whether it's a couple of people. I reckon the ultimate number would be interesting. What do you think? If you could start with any number of people, what's the perfect number of people to start a church plant with?
Honestly, it's probably just because it's the Bible, but I reckon 12.
12. I'd go 50.
Yeah, sick.
Because you start with momentum.
That's pretty cool.
You know when people rock up and there's like just a handful of people there and they go, it's just awkward.
It is hard being the only family and seeing another family and like a shark where there's blood in the water. You're trying not to look too keen. Did you like today? Would you on a scale of 1 to 10, we see you next week, you come back. Hey, how do you feel about kids ministry? Can you play guitar? Oh, you can play guitar? Oh no, we're thinking about, how's this? We're thinking about seeing a few different churches. Well, don't go near the one down the road.
Yeah.
No. You're like, okay, I'll see you. Yeah, and you can tell sometimes. I've seen people come to the church. It's not for them.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'll never see you again.
Yeah.
And you could play 7 different instruments.
Yeah.
You had some preaching experience and you seem rich.
Yeah.
Say,
yeah.
It's
so hard, isn't it?
So,
and I reckon the smaller you are, the more hard it is.
Yeah, so it's good. 50,
Yeah.
I do appreciate
50,
that.
because 50 is still not a complete number. There's still tons of room for growth, but you've got enough of an infrastructure to help with all the things required of being a church. At 150, everyone stops knowing everybody, gets cliquey.
Yep.
There's not a job for everyone to do. People start to feel disassociated. So I would say start with 50, get to 150, take 50 of them, go plant another church.
So I would also say, I think it's important since we're talking about this first, if you don't have 50.
Yes, which is really important for us to talk about.
Because some churches are 50.
Well, most don't have 50.
So I would just say, if you don't have anyone, this is not you and me going, don't plant.
Yeah, correct.
Just ask some hard questions of yourself. I reckon this is a lot of what we're talking about these first few 2 phases. Ask some serious questions of yourself. Why have I got nobody?
Mm-hmm.
And if it's just population, if it's just you're just feeling it's go, that's beautiful. God has used 1 and 2s all the time. That's fine. But also ask some questions around, have I not been able to gather? Set people to a vision, because that's going to follow you for the for church planting.
Right.
Is that?
That's right.
But for some people, I get it. And I know I have a good mate that was parachuted into a church as youth pastor and then ended up taking on that church, and it was a replant.
Yep.
And it was all the things you said, incredibly lonely, but they did it.
Yeah.
They did it. And I've just recently heard about their church and it is just flourishing.
So good.
But even he would admit, I do wish we had some people with us.
Yep.
Just because it was awkward being the one family going, please come again.
Yeah. Part of it too is like those tough questions you need to ask yourself. One of the tough questions is, what are my gifts? So if you're an evangelist, like you're ahead of the curve in attracting people and doing that.
Yeah.
So you could probably plant a church by yourself.
Good point.
But you probably couldn't grow it.
Yes.
So you could probably gather a group and it would fluctuate in and out.
Yeah. In depth. Too.
In depth.
Yeah. It's good.
So you'd be immediately, if you're in that space and people are coming to faith, you're trying to identify who your shepherds are, your pastors are, who can bring some depth, bring some teaching, bring some sustainability to this new group of people. But if you're someone that just loves to look after people, to care for people, to pastor people, the growth trajectory will probably be a lot slower, but a lot more substantial as you go. Like, because people know they're loved and they know they're valued. But getting from it's just you to it's now a small group can be a very long and hard road.
That's really good. And that's part of that. I mean, we're into 2, but that's part of phase 1 again, the calling and the calling around your giftings.
Yep.
At least you don't have to know yourself fully.
No.
But just at least know you kind of your bend.
Yep.
That'll help later on with phases and stages and knowing your limitations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this might be really helpful, but when we did Village, I did a bit of a test. Like it wasn't like a 360 thing, but a survey where you and then a bunch of other people fill in a survey about whether I'm ready to church plant.
Yeah.
So Lyndall and I did that together. And it was really helpful to go, there are my gifts, there's my weaknesses, this is what I can bring to it, this is what kind of thing I'm thinking, this is what others see in me.
So good.
So a church application system or process, as much as you got to go into it realizing it could be a no. If it's a no, that's fine.
That's good.
But it's really, I think it's really, really important.
Yeah, and use this stuff for part of your calling.
Yep.
So if you could summarize, I guess, we've gone around. I've loved where we've gone, but just trying to, what's the take home of phase 1 and phase 2?
Yeah.
So what do we want it to land?
Yep.
Let's go phase 1. What's the key takeaway?
I think the key takeaway in phase 1 is no, wait on the call of God, and when you have the call of God, like know it, like own it.
Yes.
Like hold on to it.
Yes.
Cherish it. Yeah, that would be my.
It's good. And maintain that relationship.
Yeah,
keep
absolutely.
that call.
Yeah.
That's good.
You got to feed the call. It's
Yeah.
interesting, phase 2, like vision and culture and stuff.
Yes.
What we found, our vision was super wishy-washy. Here's what our vision was for Village. to make disciples of all people.
Yeah.
I had somebody on our team come to me and challenge me one day and goes, "It's not even biblical." I said, "You can't get more biblical than that. It is the Great Commission, right?"
Yeah.
And there was this awkward moment where they're like, "Oh." It was the weirdest thing. But what I realized, the vision was too broad. It was too beyond, like, it was like, go make disciples of everyone in Burley. It was like, how on earth do we do that? It was disempowering, the vision. But I think the reason people jumped on board was because they loved the culture we were setting up.
Yes.
And so we named things about our culture, and then we had practices that were attached to those values that people could do. So one was, I said, well, we're never going to ask people that come on a Sunday for money. Like, we're never going to do an offering because we don't want them to feel like they're paying for church.
Yeah.
So we will, as a team, give generously, and the only people that are ever expected to give to this thing are people that are on team that become members of the team, and we'll just give generously. I said, you can tithe or think about that any way you want, but, you know, Christ gave his everything for you, so what are you giving to the church?
Good. Great line.
Just be generous. And I'm never going to know how much you give, and I don't care how much you give, as long as you're saying to God, I just want to be generous for your cause. I'm just going to be generous in this space. So we had these practices that emphasized this cultural thing, and we had this idea of 10 before. Everyone get there 10 minutes before.
Yes.
So we're not going to have rosters to do all this stuff. Just everyone rocks up at 10 minutes before. New people will come along and go, oh, people are here already. They won't have that anxiety of like, oh, there's 2 of us in the room and this is just a bit like awkward. So we had these cultural values that people went, oh yeah, that triggers and evokes something in me. That's who the church is wanting to be. I get that. I have a picture of that, and that's what I want. So that was actually more enticing and helpful than a vision about what we could do. It was more like what you could belong to in this space.
I have a controversial thought around vision, and probably another whole episode, setting vision and mission statements and things like that. But I don't know if the full intention of, and this is again not gospel, this is just my opinion, of the vision quotes we love to quote are about a statement.
Oh yeah.
I think it's about, again, happy for people to disagree, but I think it's about how we see the world.
Yep.
So it's a vision. Give us vision to see the world like you, Jesus. Give us vision to operate in the world. And then that's culture.
Yep.
And so it's funny in my work with small groups, it was almost always a given that the groups that I'd walk in and see a table full of food.
Yep.
Didn't matter what type of food. But as long as there were people in that group generously thinking about the group and then bringing food, even if it's a person who, it's young adults, right? So think about no one else. But for one of them to drive past and grab a packet of chips for the people in that room, always were growing.
Yep.
I'd walk in and see a table empty, and is it controversial? There's just Bibles there. They just were consuming. There was nothing giving. And culturally, I could almost go, this won't last. This is going to flourish.
And
it was almost compared to how much food was consistently being brought. Because there's a practice there. There's a culture. Hey, I'm thinking about these people. I'm being generous towards their people. And so same as, you get there, they're just culturally 10 minutes before. That's vision to see the world like in that, with that generosity lens, and with those, it's almost putting those glasses on and seeing it like Jesus would. That's good. And so if you could summarize that too, what would you take away? I know it's big.
Probably clarity. So clarity around those things. Like as a leader, you just have to be clear in yourself what sort of culture you want, what your values are, what your vision is. But hold it really loosely. Because what's interesting is you have these things and you call people to it. So I think I spoke with maybe 21 family units and 7 of them came. So if you're thinking he has no idea what he's talking about, like those 14 would totally agree with you, right? It's like, but as soon as people join this thing, they ask their question, they go, what if we could? What if we could do this? What if we could do that? And what happens is as their energy and gifts and that come into that mix, it starts to shape and change all that stuff. And I recognized really early on, if I'm holding that stuff real tight, people are going to be like, there's no place for me here. But if I'm going, this is ours, let's shape it together, people get buy-in right from the start, which is so important. And let God.
there's that lamp on your feet, right? You still got a lamp. You're still walking a direction.
Yep.
Look, that's my experience. So you'll hear this again and again, this story, but because it's my story. But I came into Burleigh, and honestly, I wouldn't have admitted it, but I admit it to myself. Hey, it's Burleigh Heads. This is cool.
Yeah.
We'll get rid of these old ways. Not old people. We'll give it old ways, and we're gonna make this cool. We're gonna one of the first things we do is a nice coffee cart up. We're gonna have nice coffee. We're gonna hipsters. I connect with Christian surfers pretty quickly. I don't surf, but they're the type of people I imagine the church was going to be full of.
Yep.
I did a bit of history and found out it was a Christian surfer that actually planted it. A surfboard shaper's brother. Nev Hyman, who's a surfboard shaper, his brother planted Burleigh. I was like, oh, cool. It must be what we're going to do. And so it's going to be this cool hipster, you think burger joints for millennials, exposed brick, because that's all we had. It's an old building. Wow, we're going to make Burleigh great again.
Yeah. Yep.
Honestly, that was part of my
there
was a deep calling. There was still following God in all of this, but there was some just allusions to what we were going to be and maybe some ego. Yep. Definitely some ego, not maybe. And then within that first year, he called me back to a deeper call that we'd had all along to what we called a call to the misfits. But the key in that is I realised I'm a misfit.
Yeah.
So it's a call. So I've been saved.
Yeah.
I'm not bringing anything new or fresh or cool.
Yeah.
I'm just I got to follow that calling, and that shaped it. It found out by the end I was doing exactly what I was made to do.
Yes,
but there was not a cool person in sight, including me. That was awesome. So it got to hold that lousely, but it's funny. It's a process of constantly asking.
Yep.
Hey, am I on the right track? And asking trusted few that are with you.
Yeah.
Hey, help me shape this.
That's right.
Am I not seeing something?
Yep.
And funny enough, for me, it was even because it was a replant. It was asking those that I would have seen maybe villainized at the beginning.
Yep.
So wrong of me.
Yep.
Actually, this person's not a villain. The food help thing they're doing.
Yeah.
They're scared.
Yep.
Because everything's changed and this church is about to close.
Yeah.
And they're giving their finance towards helping the poor.
Yeah.
That maybe that's the vision.
Yep.
Maybe it's not about. So right. It's bringing in
cool.
people.
Yep.
The person that came in because God told him had long left.
Yep.
And we turned out expanding that. So it's
so
fluid, but you got to step out, don't you? It's such a tension.
Yep.
You got to step towards somewhere.
Yep. That's right. You have to be moving. And you have this weird tension of, we'll talk about this in another episode, but some people think you're moving too fast and other people think you're just slow as.
Yes. And
you're in the middle, just like trying to manage the speed that you're not even sure what it could be. And so I like to move fast paced. I had people going, why are we going so slow? And had others go like, oh my gosh, I'm getting motion sickness. It's going too fast. I'm like, how on earth do you deal with that? And I think you deal with that by going, there's a bigger picture that we need to gently walk toward. But we need to keep moving. Need to keep moving in that space.
So I love in a sense you've talked about your calling and then our calling.
Yeah. Yeah.
A great tool I've used in this type of thing that is a personal rule of life. If people don't know what that is, I can talk about another episode, but it's basically some rhythms that you're committing to so that you can seek his calling and make sure God, it's not to make God in contact with you, it's to make you aware that he's already there.
Yep.
You've just might have forgot about him. And so, and then I've worked on a community rule of life. What are our rhythms? What are our non-negotiables? Now, that's just a clever way to say what you already said. Which is like 10 minutes before. Hey, what are our things that we're committing to our values and walking in that?
So good.
I'm happy to give resources on that anytime and happy to walk people through what that looks like. Those first two, they're huge. How you set it up is how you continue. And any other last minute thoughts on that first two as we wrap up today?
I think there's this scripture in Jeremiah talks about going back to the ancient ways. And I should be able to find it, but go back to the ancient ways. Don't forget the ancient ways. and there's this picture of coming to a crossroad, and the way forward is the ancient way. It's like the way forward is the way back. You're like, what? It's like we're not, like what you said about Billy, we're not creating anything new.
No.
It's going, hang on, how's God been faithful in the past? What's God done in the past? What's the work that God has laid in this community or with other churches, or if it's a replant in that thing, what has God already done that he's calling me to walk forward in and on?
Yes.
And those ancient ways, it's the ways of prayer and of scripture reading and of fasting and of solitude and of community and all those beautiful things, far more than it is about trying to be relevant to your community and put on the right things that you think the community is going to love.
Yeah.
If you can be true to the ancient ways and carry that, people go, that's what I need, because they're just, people feel so shortchanged, so starving with what the culture offers.
Yes.
But we have these ancient ways of God that from the dawn of time has been lacing into the fabric of humanity.
Love it.
And that's what we need to offer people. And gee, it can be hard to, because you're just like, you have other churches go, how's the church plant going? And you're just like, yeah, no, and you want to answer, like, we're bringing all these young adults in, all these surfers in, and like, there's this incredible stuff happening. When actually what happened was a homeless dude stumbled in and you counted him as one person because he just got a drink and then left, you know?
Yeah.
And just on that too, I always found it was so discouraging when people say, how's the church plant going?
Yeah.
And it was rubbish. But you couldn't say it was rubbish, right? You couldn't be like, yeah, no, it's the whole last 6 months has been horrendous and people have been leaving. Like, and so what I worked out, because there are always people that they're good-hearted, like they just want to hear, yes, amazing. But their context is really growing and flourishing, right? So they're like, well, everybody else's is. And so what I would do is I'd work out a story. So every week I'd have a story that I'd tell. So when people go, how's it going? I go, let me tell you a story about what God's done this week.
Yeah.
And I tell this one story. Now that was the one thing that God did that week and nothing else. But because that's what they want to know. They don't care about numbers. They're not asking. So if somebody asks you, how's it going? They don't care about numbers. They care about you.
Yep.
And they just want to hear a God story.
And if they care about numbers, if they are the type of person, who cares?
Yeah, absolutely.
They're not the person you should be talking to.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Get new friends. No. I'm sure God loves them too. But yeah, that's good. So do you know what's funny? That story shapes. Again, you talked about shaping the value and identity.
Yes.
I bet that shaped.
Yeah, it does.
Who you're becoming.
Yep.
What we do. Yeah, it's funny. There's James Clear talks about in Atomic Habits. It's a secular book. Great book though.
Yep.
Talks about every action is a vote towards who we're becoming.
Yeah.
But when you look at it in a church world, every vote, everything you do is shaping every action, every story you tell is shaping who you are becoming.
Yeah.
And so the practices, like you talk about these ancient practices, what you celebrate, what you talk about, this is probably another whole episode again, but is a vote towards who you're becoming and is a vote towards your values. Yeah. And so what you highlight, we're not growing in numbers, but hey, this homeless person stumbled in, they found Jesus. Yeah. And that's what we're about. Yeah. We're a safe place for them. Yeah. And it costs, it's hard. You have people leave because they don't agree with his values. We talked about that. But God's building something in them.
And I think you use stories to reinforce those values. So it's much better to tell a story that grabs hold of a value than it is to tell people you just need to be more committed to this thing. So cool story. The other day, got an email, came to the church. It was like 2 days after I got back from Alpha. So I'm like red hot. And so email comes to church. The guy's name's Leo, I find out. So Leo says in this email, he says, I really like the idea of a Christian God. Can I meet with someone to talk about that? That's it. So I'm like, yeah, pretty much anytime, anywhere, yes.
Yes.
So we meet later on. Leo is about 22, studying biomed, been in the country 6 months. He's Iranian and a Muslim.
Wow.
So I said, what brings you to this guy? Like, what brings us here? He goes, I just like the idea of the Christian God. I said, what do you know about the Christian God? He goes, not much. That's why I'm here.
Wow.
So let me tell you. So I tell him about Jesus. So start with the Trinity, talk about creation, presence of the Spirit all the way through, then Jesus, cross, resurrection. and then Pentecost.
Mm.
As I'm talking, he is beaming, like grinning, like alive. Get to the end of it. I say, hey man, like, do you want to, like, what do you think? He's like, yes. I said, do you want to put your faith in that Jesus? He's like, yes, that's what I want to do. So we pray, have this time of prayer, becomes a Christian. Week later, standing up at church. And I'm in the middle of talking about how we need to become an alpha church, right? Leo's there. And I say, let me just tell you a story. I don't even know. And I look at Leo and go, I don't even know if I have permission to tell you this, but Leo became a Christian this week. And Leo stands up and goes like, as in like, and everyone applauds, right? It was just this like crazy unscripted moment. It's like a beautiful moment. And that did more for our culture in aligning us to a church that exists for those who aren't saved, who is there for those on the outside, than anything I could have possibly ever done to convince people. And the reason Leo came to that conversation was because of the move of God. Like God had prompted, and and that's what people love about it. They're like, yeah, there's nothing brilliant or incredible about that story. It's all God. That's amazing that God did this.
I think, I think we want to, one of the things we want to do with this podcast, it's even in the name, the fresh dirt, the dirtiness of it, is we want to be real.
Yeah.
And so we're telling honest stories. We're not going to hear, hopefully, hype from you or me.
No.
But the reason we want to do it, the reason we bang on, who knows for too long or too little, is we both know it is worth it.
Yes.
And so, yes, people will leave. The calling's hard. Establishing values and realizing you might have been heading in the wrong direction, we just need to pivot, is really humbling.
Yep.
However, it's those moments, and we'll continue to tell stories in episodes, but you're just like, this is why you do it.
Yep.
For every person that hurt or worked or left or didn't come with us, or every calling and dark night of the soul, that's people finding Jesus, people finding him now and into eternity, and life's changed. And it happens through church planting.
That's
so
right.
if you're listening to this, you're like, whoa, that sounds scary. Please don't make that the only thing.
No,
the first two phases are terrifying.
Yes.
But it's worth it.
It's so worth it.
Even if you're, and it's a weird way to finish, even if your church plant fails, you stepping out, having a go will plant seeds.
Absolutely.
If it's God's call, and sometimes he might even have called it to fail, and lessons learned and things happened, and the air was aerated, to use our farming analogies, and oxygenated, and on we go. It was worth it. And so follow that.
Yep. And we've had people come to faith that when we've asked for their story, there's this like, I went to this church once. I just went for one service, but there was something, right?
Yes.
And often with the church plant that is that one day and you never see him again, and you go, I failed. Like I didn't manage to get them to be part of it. They didn't become a Christian. They didn't. We go, failed. And it's like, no, you were such an important part to celebrate every person that comes. And it like, they may be here for an hour or for a lifetime, but that's part of their story that God will bring to full restoration.
And even, again, we've got stories after stories, but we have to finish somewhere. Yeah. That's fantastic. Thanks again for your time.
Oh, thank you.
And we'll see you in the next episode. I look forward to hearing the rest of the phases. If people want to get in touch with you and, spoiler alert, find all 7, you're happy to send that to them.
Yep.
And we're happy for any conversation.
Yes.
But thank you for sharing the first 2. Look forward to the rest of them in the next few episodes.
Yeah, and if this stuff is helpful, if this podcast is helpful in us chatting, and maybe there's been one episode that you're like, oh, got to give that to a friend, please do. Like we don't care how many people watch it. If one person watches it and they go, I'm so helped, that's enough. But the more people that can actually have this and be helped by it, the more we just feel like we're fulfilling what God's called us to do.
And please tell us.
Oh yeah.
Like we're fragile humans.
Tell Steve what you don't like, any improvements he can make.
You can definitely do that, but I'm used to that. But just if it's helpful, tell us.
Yeah.
We're not just sitting in a room, using time up to tell stories to each other. It's fun, but we want to know it's helpful. Honestly want to know it's helpful. We don't need it for our ego, just to know if we continue and what we do.
And the questions too. If people have can you speak about this? Can you address this? You said this one-liner that we might not even realize. Can you just push in? I think we need to watch this episode again because we said about 10 times, we need to pick that up in a future episode.
Yes. And so let us know if we should or not.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Thanks for your time.
Thanks,
See you
Steve.
next time.
Cheers. See you, Ron.